presidential historian Jon Meacham was on our air earlier talking about this in broader terms. Let me play a little bit of what he had to say.
It is a matter of life and death. This is as core an issue as you can get. I always thought a great crisis of trust would be over a foreign policy crisis, would be over the president saying something that he knew not to be true. This is even more elemental to some extent.
You know, Philip, this is talked about from administration to administration, the idea of the unexpected, unforeseen crisis that ends up taking center stage, ends up testing the president, ends up testing the administration in ways nobody was expecting. Again, obviously, we don't know what the scope of this is or isn't going to be. But is the White House, are folks around the White House and inside of it thinking of this in those terms at all?
They are beginning to, Steve. There's a heightened sense of concern within the president's circle about the coronavirus situation, about this perhaps worsening into a pandemic, about the economy remaining shaky, jittery, the markets continuing to decline, as Stephanie was just alluding to, and what that may portend for this president. And there's a realization, too, that Trump is not a great fit for this moment. This is a moment that, of course, requires leaders to present honest, factual information, to rely on the scientific experts in the government to provide clear instructions to the American people. And what you have in President Trump is a leader who's prone to hyperbole, who doesn't always tell the truth, who likes to be a salesman and exaggerate, and can sometimes be emotional and personal in his responses when calmness is really the order of the day. So it's sort of a wait-and-see moment in the White House. There's an attempt to get things under control here with Vice President Pence taking charge, but a lot of concern that this could go off the rails very quickly.
Well, Nancy, that gets to another question we just played before this in the intro to this discussion, comments from the president again today. Is that going to be a consistent presence here, public comments from the president? Is there a plan to have him talk less about this going forward? How much are we going to be hearing from him?
Well, I think that the White House doesn't really have any control over how often the president speaks. And you have to remember, tomorrow he is going to South Carolina for a rally. So he'll have, a huge platform there and an hour and a half potentially to talk and deliver his messages. But I think what we heard from the president today at an event at the White House was a sense of grievance that he wasn't getting enough credit for the coronavirus. And that really contradicted what the White House wanted him to do with that press conference on Wednesday night. They wanted him to try to calm people down, display a presidential leadership. And then today he was talking really just about how coronavirus is being perceived through the media coverage, how it's reflecting on him, and not really about the larger question of the welfare of the American people, how the stock market is going to react, what's going to happen with the economy. It's all through the lens of himself.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.